Hi, welcome to Infusion Health, the podcast. I'm comedian Cris Patrick, a.k.a. self-proclaimed power man. And I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey, guys.
And I just want to say to Rach, happy birthday.
It's been a couple months.
Well, when this airs, we're recording this early, but when this airs, but today is Rachel's birthday, and happy birthday to you.
Yeah, let's not get charged like $1 million for singing that song.
Okay, today we got a very interesting show, and I've been really excited. We've been playing phone tag back and forth, trying to get each other on the show, and I really it's really special to me because I've known him since he was in high school, and his dad was actually my old business partner. May he rest in peace. Great guy, Damar Jackson. But I'm here. I got his son on, Damar Jackson. Now, Demar owns a clothing company called Frosted Lakes. Now, we've had Bridget Pinder on the show, who has her own. She makes her own CBD, grows her own CBD, and the stuff she was telling us about when CBD becomes legal, and the things that go on, and how the big companies like Bezos and all these can buy them out, and some of these small farms. But Demar is he's African American, biracial. Is it okay to call you biracial, Demar?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Demar has been arrested 3 times for 5th-degree possession of cannabis. He now owns his own cannabis business. And as we're getting more and more into making this illegal, he's going to tell us about some of the problems he faces as far as being, biracial, and as far as some of the stuff that's going on with cannabis. So, Demar, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you've had 3 arrests, and I think, I don't know if it's safe to say you're kind of like the textbook, African American. You've been arrested for drug possession and all that. And a lot of these people now are starting to make money on stuff you've actually had to do time. Not time, but had to face the courts charges for. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So I think, as everybody kind of knows, like, times are changing now. But when we're looking at 10 years ago, things like that, when the laws weren't so friendly, I was arrested for 5th-degree possession, which in Minnesota is anything over 42.5 grams,
Okay.
which is really not, a lot. We're talking about a handful of joints here, so which constitutes a felony charge.
Mm-hmm.
So fortunately, I was able to, acquire a lawyer, and I went through the process. But I spent the last 10 years pretty much on and off probation for the same thing. More recently, I have branched out to Michigan after my last, completion of probation. And since then, we have been growing legally under the medical program for coming up on about 2 to 3 years now.
Okay.
So you say growing under the medical program. What exactly is that? I know it's for medical purposes. Now, please explain to the listeners, are you growing CBD or cannabis? And explain the difference.
Well, cannabis, I would say, how would I explain that? So CBD is legal in all states right now, okay? Yeah. And I would say that would be a great entry for anybody that's thinking about using cannabis or considering using it. It doesn't have the psychoactive effects that cannabis does.
Can I just...
So what we grow...
I just want to make sure that listeners understand that buy the real stuff, first off, not the stuff that's on Amazon that's laced.
Yeah, Walmart and all that.
Absolutely. Knowing where it's coming from is going to be a huge part of this, and as well as education, because there is a lot of bad stuff and corporate people that want to get their hands in, and just like the food industry, they'll they could care less about what they sell you as long as they're making money.
All right, Go ahead. Sorry.
So you're explaining about cannabis and CBD.
Yep. So so the CBD has the non-psychoactive, which is the stuff that gets you high, per se, quote unquote. So we operate under the medical program in Michigan, which allows us to grow up to 72 plants right now for our patients. And, we've been supplying them for about 2 to 3 years now. The program has been working really well, and we are in line currently for a license to actually open a dispensary. But right now they don't have any available in the town we're in, so we're kind of, it's kind of a waiting game going back and forth.
Absolutely.
And what town are you in Michigan?
Ironwood,
Michigan?
Yep,
okay.
right up in the UP. Yep, up in the peninsula.
Okay, so as you say, as the laws start to get more friendlier, how does that work for you? Because you've actually been arrested for this. How does that work for you as far as an exoneration, getting what you went through exonerated?
Great question. Well, for many years, it has boxed me out. So being arrested for anything cannabis related has boxed me out of the market. So any chance of having a legal shot at this has been totally eradicated. More than recently, they've changed the law so that if you have had been arrested, in part of this whole process where, where people are making money out of this, you've been boxed out, they actually give you a discount as far as your application fee as sort of I would call it a backwards apology, but without really saying I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's really been, Michigan's really been a blessing as far as that goes and laws changing and stuff. And Minnesota's not quite there. I think they still got quite a long road to go here because the medical program has been failing for quite some time.
So is it fair to say that it's some type of restitution for the people that are actually trying to sell it and help the people that are having chronic pain?
I would absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as far as the medicinal side, our patients, I don't think that there's any better medicine for them. Myself included, I've been under the program for 4 years and for 3 years in Minnesota. And I would have to say, hands down, it's the best medicine for me.
Yeah.
And what exactly is your pain?
I suffer from, so I actually, from the motorcycle accident, I developed some slight seizures. Okay. I have anxiety, I have hard time sleeping. There's a minor PTSD. There's a lot of things that it treats for myself personally. Mm-hmm. And, back when I was on probation and I wasn't allowed to, use cannabis medically, I was on, I believe, 12 pills twice a day. So Whoa. We're talking about 20 pills. Yeah, we're talking about 24 pills. And, I don't care who you are. Yeah, I think we can all agree that amount of medication is not good for your stomach or your body,
Absolutely
at all.
not. Now, I have a side question for you. On those medications, sure. Just so people are aware, how much of them were actually taking care of you and how much were for the side effects because of the medication?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. I believe probably maybe 2 to 3 of them were for the actual, prescribed reason, and the rest we were just kind of chasing symptoms and side effects and what I call the glitches. And I really have no other way to explain it, but almost like being poked with a cow prod. Yeah. It was kind of giving these side seizure glitches and stuff. So of course we're doing this for this, and then we're trying to treat this. And I finally came down and I talked to the judge personally, and I told him that this is my medicine, this is what I use, and it replaces every one of these pills. And thankfully, I will go on record and say that Minnesota has been quite fair as far as having it, being in the legal substance.
For medical purposes.
For being, absolutely medical purposes, for understanding, that could be a better medicine over the pills.
Okay, and now when you said you were using it, you weren't taking it in pill form or CBD. You were actually smoking it, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I use it in flower form. Yep.
Okay, and just to the listeners out there, I know a lot of people who take cannabis for medical purposes, and I guess they say the best way to get it into your system is to smoke it. So these just aren't people sitting around. I just want to make sure that they know that they're not people getting high and all. Oh, it's for medical. No, they're actually doing it for medical purposes, and that's the best way to get it into your body.
Absolutely. Most recently, I have a friend of mine whose mother had developed stage 4 cancer, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with RSO, and it stands for Rick Simpson oil. And it's a very concentrated cannabis. It's a very concentrated raw form, and it's we gave her, I believe, 3 months of treatment, and she went to the doctor, and she went from, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it was from 37 tumors to down to 4. Mm-hmm. So there is real power behind this medicine, and we're just kind of breaking the ice and, really being able to study it and, kind of put the spotlight on it like it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I want to talk about, Demar, is, and I want to go there because when we look, and let's go back a little ways. When we look at the marijuana laws, a lot of, and when you actually research them, going back to like the jazz aids and stuff like that, a lot of people that were doing marijuana were African Americans. And what happened was, and this is the stuff I've researched, what happened was that they made these laws against to put African Americans in jail because they couldn't put them in jail for being black or being African American, but they could put them in jail. They could outlaw marijuana.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of many reasons. And there's a lot of dark history, associated with it because, now that, like I said, now that we got the spotlight on it and we're really able to see what this is able to do, we kind of found out that reefer madness was, all smoke and mirrors per se, and all these things that they have conditioned people to think this evil thing and it's going to make people do all these bad things. Well, it turns out, oh no, now it can help grandma. Oh no, now it can help, this young person with their seizures. And
well, I think,
but yeah, there's a lot of dark stigma behind it.
I think what Bridget's main problem is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is big business now seeing this as a profitable business. So they're starting to overturn this stuff and make it profitable for themselves.
But and the main question, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the main question in that is like, okay, big business sees it. Hey, there's money in marijuana. We can buy up all these farms, give this farmer $100,000. Who wouldn't take it? But then again, all these people, mainly African American people, who went to jail and are still in jail for minor stuff like having 2 joints or something like that. Do these people get released? Can we let these people out because the laws have changed?
And it's a double-edged sword. And I think in most people's eyes, they're going to say absolutely, like right is right. We need to let these people out immediately. But unfortunately, in the country we're in, the law says that it was illegal at that time. So that's that's how they hold it. And if they start releasing people and apologizing, you're opening up a window for a heck of a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that they will admit that it's wrong. But I don't think that they are going to open these doors anytime soon for these, these young souls that are suffering.
And that's absolutely a real question. And
I think that's a shame. The laws have changed. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we're talking about primarily non-violent offenders, and once again, you're talking about a lot, primarily, if not all, Black African American people that are suffering at hands of this. And I just feel like there needs to be some kind of reintroductory program because there are people that are going to be sitting for 10 plus years while other people are out here printing money essentially.
Yeah, making money for other people who went to jail for it.
Cris, one of the best things that I think we had a discussion with Bridget is the history of cannabis. How during the war times they were making hemp ropes out of it, and people were naturally growing it, even giving it to their babies. The cows were eating it and getting it through their meat. I mean, I think that's really serious to look back at and say, okay, what kind of health problems were they having back there? Or lack of because of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's hard to say because, there's just been so little research done on it. But, I attribute my being healthy and, even not catching COVID and so on and so forth. And I can't say this, that, or the third. But I will say that I use cannabis and I tend to stay relatively healthy.
Yeah. So as far because some of the stuff you had to go through. And I remember when you were working at the gas station with your dad, again, may he rest in peace. You had to wear a brace for how long?
You said one more time, at the gas station, I had to do what for how long?
You were wearing an ankle brace?
Oh yeah, the good old ankle brace. Yeah, I've done house arrest as well, and I believe I've done 3 months on that thing, and I've also done a couple stints inside the workhouse. So it's I've seen my fair share of inside jail cells, and we're talking about a completely non-violent.
Yeah.
I mean, Cris, like you said, you've known me since day one here, and we're talking about a non-violent person who has been in jail longer than predators and and people that are really out here doing bad things. So I do really think that we need to look at that and kind of revamp what, who we're sentencing and who we're really putting where.
Now, I have a question for listeners that kind of are disagreeing with this kind of conversation. Do you have any priors besides the marijuana? And you can refuse to answer the question.
I do not. Actually, I always had that joke that if marijuana went legal and my record disappeared, for every weed charge, I could run for president tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm squeaky clean like that. So.
But also too. So you went like I said, you're African American or biracial African American, but you went through the stuff, went through the legal process and all that. So what do you think about like big companies coming in and profiting off this? Profiting off what you basically got punished for?
I think that they should get the backseat. In the town that I'm in, I mentioned that they don't have any licenses available, and that's because these corporate guys came in first. Mm-hmm. And part of the application fee is you get extra points for already having a dispensary in another state. So these court, it's crazy that they give these guys a leg up. It's like you already got a dispensary in this town, and now you get bonus points for already having one. So, of course, these big corporate guys get to come in with their lawyers and everything. They get it, solidified, and now we're in town to kind of wait. We're ready to go and everything else, but it's hard to compete with the big cats. Yeah,
because the big cats, as you know, got the money.
And
absolutely.
I have a question for you. Sorry. So my question is, Bridget and me were talking, and she was saying that a lot of these big businesses don't do justice to the cannabis, to the CBD. What is your take on that?
That's actually where I was going to go next with it. Is we will forever have a leg up on these corporate, businesses for the sake of we are patients over profit. Is we put that much more care into it. And I've seen a lot of people come and go in this game because they think that you can just jump in, throw something in the dirt, sprinkle a little water on it, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be printing out money. And it's really not that cut and dry. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that goes into this and a lot of care and love, and they don't have it. So I feel like we will always be able to, remain supreme above that just because of the love that we put into it.
Now, my first love is essential oils. And I know with essential oils, if you buy them at Walmart or CVZ or just in a plain old pharmacy, 95% of that bottle doesn't have to be real. And 5% is the real product. They don't need to tell you what the 95% of that is. Are you finding about the same with the cannabis, CBD?
It's actually a lot more challenging in the cannabis world because once we get to the legal side, they want everything tested. It becomes a little complex because we're talking about a fresh product here. So they want you to grow it, package it, ship it downstate for testing. They do whatever with it, package it back up, send it back, and then we're expected to still have a semi-fresh product. And you can imagine if we had to do that with apples and bananas. If we had to ship it down to California, they had to pull it out, check your banana, put it back together, and ship it back. We're not talking about very fresh product. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, it's yeah. So it's a little different, I'll say.
Now that's for the farmer and the seller, the organic seller. Is that same for the big business? As far as that kind of process to make sure that they're selling the right thing, they're not lacing it with anything.
Do they got to ship it off like you do?
Well, I think that a lot of these businesses will try and take the shortcuts. Because it's easy to grow nice look. I'm not going to say easy, but it's doable to make nice looking products. Mm-hmm. But when you get down to the medical benefits of it, that's where you're going to really see, who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you will see a lot of these companies skipping steps and, trying to find the cheapest product. So, of course, they can just mass produce because that's what they do. Same thing with our fruit and, everything else. Let's grow as much as possible, as cheap as possible, so we can make as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, there's a lot of people that can tell a difference, but there's a market. But what I do like about this is that they are forcing testing in this game so that a lot of these places that can't do it right will be weeded out.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. So what do you think? What do you think when you got people when every time I see on the news or something like that, people they're talking to legislators, they're going down to the Capitol, and they're saying, "Hey, we need to legalize this. We need to legalize this." They're saying that marijuana is a gateway drug, and I'm like, "Well, hey, Ritlin's a gateway drug." What do you have to say about that?
When it comes to the politicians, I really don't, because I've been waiting in Minnesota for Tim Walz, and we've been waiting for all these people that have made these promises who, and really at the end of the day, I don't think that they have that control. You know what I mean? Because it's up to the people to get it to that person's desk, and then, they got their say in it. But at the end of the day, I'm not holding my breath and waiting around for anybody to tell me what we can and can't do. So thankfully, Michigan was close enough to where we could get rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. It's just been kind of crazy. And I think another thing is everybody thinks we want legalization. And at the end of the day, I think that just means higher taxes.
Yeah.
I think more like we want decriminalization. You know what I mean? We just want, give me $100 ticket, okay, for having a joint at the park. Give me a $10 ticket, whatever the case may be. But legalization, I think, is just going to make it so that the government can get their hands in it and, tax the game harder, which it is one of the highest tax crops in the world right now. And still not legal. Imagine that. So they tell you that it's still federally illegal, but they tax you harder than anything else in the entire world right now.
For sale in the legal states, where it's legal to sell.
Absolutely. Yep. I believe they want, they need, depending on what state you're in, it's 27 to 43% on every dollar.
So when you talk about political, I mean, who is actually on our side? Is it the Republicans? Is it Democrats? Or is it just
Green Party, Independent?
Honestly, I feel like at this point, it's a carrot. I feel like every and anybody uses it to get the people behind them. Joe Biden, we're going to release these boys and we're going to talk about it, and as soon as they get into office, it's the same old game. Oh, well, we just don't have the time to talk about it right now. We're going to get to it. It's not the most important issue right now. We got other things going on. So, and that seems to be the reoccurring issue. So that's kind of why I knew that I was going to have to branch out and go where they would allow me to do it. Because, if you're waiting on people to tell you you can and can't do it, I feel like you're going to be waiting a really long time, especially in this industry.
Exactly. Well, and
by the time they do, I feel like it's going to be too late.
Well, since you've been arrested, what made you stay in the business being arrested? Because if I'd been arrested 5 times, I'd be like, you know what, I need to find another business. But that's just me.
Yes,
what made you stay in it?
The passion, and that's I didn't even know what it was at the time. But that's what a dream is. That's what passion is when you want it that bad, you're in a I fell off the trampoline 5 times and I came back, and I learned how to do a double backflip bounce.
Sure. And have you had success stories outside of your own, as far as people taking CBD? I know Bridget was really happy about it. And when I find the right customer for my essential oils, I'm just like in awe that I finally found a product that actually helps them get out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. CBD works for a lot of people. Like I said, there's so many different things. It just kind of depends on what your ailments are. But the same thing, cannabis and essential oils go hand in hand. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. And it's almost like an entourage effect, because I'm sure you're familiar with, how these essential oils can affect, lavender can have a relaxing effect or, so on and so forth. So it's kind of the same thing with cannabis. It's an entourage effect that the oils and you ever seen somebody just smell one bud 100 times in a row? Those oils and the smells, they have an effect on us. So there's a lot into this game that I think these corporate guys don't know. And I think that's why we'll always be okay in this.
So, can't let you go. Let's talk about, you started your own clothing company, Frosted Lakes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Myself and one of my close friends, Kente, we started Frosted Lakes in 2020. And, I just always been the kind of person where we have to revamp ourselves. So when COVID hit and everything was kind of slowing down and the world was getting shaky, we kind of took a chance on ourselves. And, we've been running with Frosted Lakes we just had our second pop-up shop in Uptown this last week, where I think it was probably our best day ever. We probably had over 50, 60 people come out. We sold out 90% of our items. So we've been gaining quite a following.
And and glad to see that, because your dad was the ultimate organizer, ultimate entrepreneur. I mean, every time I talked to your dad, he had a new thing going. He just moved like that, and you do have that of your dad.
I like that, man. I'm really trying, Chris, and I know that you guys were the best of friends, and I always appreciate you being, standing by your side.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't let you go without asking you one question.
Well, before you get there, I just want for the listeners to understand. Now, in this clothing shop, you and Cris were talking about earlier that you're not putting the hemp into it yet. But for the listeners want to jump on your link that we put in the show notes, tell us a little bit more about your actual product.
Well, we wanted to do, like I said, I'm very passionate about the cannabis industry, and anything that I do, I wanted to do a high standard and give a quality product. And that's how we started with Frosted Lakes. Is we didn't want to start with lower class t-shirts. We went straight to the top with everything that we did. And, for any listeners that want to check it out, it's www.frostedlakes.com, frosted-lakes.com. And but yeah, it's been really good to us. We tried with all of our high quality products. We've dropped some new Letterman jackets, and lately we've just been having a lot of success with these pop up shops, and people kind of understanding that we want to be that top brand. We want to be that Minnesota brand, that household name that everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And well, like I said, I can't let you go unless I ask one question. I think you were at a convention or something like that, and you had a leaf blower or something that you were passing around.
What?
I had to ask you about that. I was like, he had
the Kush Cannon. Yes.
What was it called?
The Kush Cannon.
The Kush Cannon.
The Kush Cannon.
It was a leaf blower with a tube on it, and he had cannabis in it, and it blew the smoke out, and he was taking it up to people.
Oh.
Well, explain more. I don't think I'm doing it justice. I don't think I'm doing it justice.
I don't think you really don't.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So that was one of those crazy ideas, on the late night, and I got a good group of guys together, and we put it together in about a week. And as you can see in the video, man, the people were loving it. So we got a lot of views after that. A lot of people have been hitting us up trying to figure out what we're all about. And we got our next event. It's called Loud on the River, coming up on Father's Day, actually. So, for any listeners that want to catch that Kush Can and catch us out there, that's where we'll be.
Okay, and that's on out there in St. Paul or whatever.
It's on the St. Croix River. It's a 5-hour boat cruise. And, we're going to be out there. There's going to be food, vendors, all kind of stuff, man. It's going to be a good time.
Okay. Well, let me know. Father's Day. I could probably make it, but let me know. I might vend out there.
Sounds good. I'll send you a link for it, Chris. If you can make it, we'd love to have you.
Okay, and to the people out there, if you want to learn more about Frosted Lakes or buy any one of his T-shirts, any of his items, that'll be in the show notes. Rachel will have that in the show notes. And Demar, this has been a great podcast. We've learned a lot, and just want to know one more question. As far as politics, which candidate can we get behind as far as helping us out, or is there no good candidates right now? Is it the Green Party or?
Like I said, I feel at the end of the day, it's kind of a carrot bait. I think that we should look deeper into it if, before you're starting to pick somebody just based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like as of right now, I don't think we have any friends in this kind of game. I think everybody says that they want it and this, but, at the end of the day, it's not up to them. So we have to use our voice to kind of really show the people that this is a powerful medicine and that this is what we want, because we as people ultimately decide. So.
Yeah.
Going forward in your company for Frosted Lakes, I would suggest you in a future episode, we're going to be talking to a fashion designer, and she uses actual products brought forward from nature that actually give healing qualities to her clothing. So I would, yeah. So I can definitely get you connected to her to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
So, yep, absolutely. You guys, we're coming to a close, so
It's been great.
he's gonna send us that video that we can all watch on YouTube, and he'll send us our links, and that'll be all in the show notes. If you guys appreciated what you heard tonight, please subscribe, tell your friends, and listen to the next one. And our closing, as always, is history is born on lines of hate. On here, we are trying to make lines of love, teach you guys how to be your best advocate and your best self. Have a great one.
Take it easy.